Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. And yes, today we'll be talking about the college football playoffs. And that's coming up right after this. Hey everybody, welcome back to Just Justin. I am Justin. And yes, we'll be talking about the college football playoffs here today on this No Niche channel. Okay, so college football playoffs, they consist of 12 teams. Are they the right 12 teams? Well, we never know. Okay, but let's break down the games. Okay, so we're going to start on the first round playoffs. Now it was on December the 19th and the 20th. Okay, so it featured number 9 Alabama against number 8 Oklahoma. Now, there's some opinions that one of these teams should not have even been in there. And, well, yeah, we'll talk about that later in another video. Okay, so Alabama overcame a 17-point deficit. Yes, 17-point deficit to pull off a comeback victory there in Norman. Okay, so Oklahoma was a home team. Alabama came in, visited, and Alabama came back, overcame a 17-point deficit, and being the first team in the Big 12 playoff era to win a road game. So most of the time, the home team always wins, but Alabama came in and they beat Oklahoma. It was 34-24, so they beat them by 10 points. Okay, and it was a good game. To be honest, I was rooting for Oklahoma, and about the only time I root for Oklahoma. And so they came in to Norman and they beat Oklahoma. Oklahoma had beat them earlier. So these were two SEC teams, so Southeastern Conference teams, battling it out. I don't think ESPN really liked that with the playoff committee, but it is what it is, right? Okay, so Alabama's the first one to advance. The second game was on December the 20th of 2025. And that featured number 10, Miami, and number 7, Texas A&M. So Texas A&M was the home team that day, okay? And it was a very, very good game, okay? That was a defensive battle at Kyle Field there. But Miami edged out Texas A&M with a late touchdown to secure the victory in College Station. The low-scoring affair was the first of several close calls for the Hurricanes, okay? So, second visiting team in this playoff, in this 12-team playoff era, the visiting team came in and beat the home team. All right, so we have Texas A&M 3, Miami 10. Yeah, that was a close game. I mean, it was a very good game. I watched both of these games and they were really good. Of course, it was hard for me to root for Texas A&M, and it was even harder for me to root for Miami. But I kind of wanted Miami to win due to the fact that Texas A&M was in Southeastern Conference school, and they just needed to be out. So Miami went on to win. Okay, so the next game on December the 20th of 2025 featured Ole Miss. Okay, they were number 6 against number 11 Tulane. All right, they're in Ole Miss. Okay, so Ole Miss dominated at a home in Oxford. Okay, jumping out to a 7-3 halftime lead and never looking back. I mean, the Rebels, they just cruised to an easy first round victory against Tulane. I mean, I really didn't watch this game. I knew Ole Miss was going to win. I mean, Tulane looked good during the season, but they just weren't up to playing in an SEC school. So Ole Miss 41, Tulane 10. Okay, and then again on December the 20th, we had Oregon and James Madison playing. Okay, and number 5, Oregon, against the number 12, James Madison. And it was playing in Oregon, and Oregon put up big numbers against James Madison at Oregon Stadium. I mean, advancing comfortably despite the solid showing from the Sun Belt champions. I mean, James Madison, they put on a good game. I mean, yes, Oregon beat them 51-34, but James Madison, they had a great showing for just being the Sun Belt champions and playing against a Big Ten school in Oregon. So, yeah. So far, those are the scores. We have 2 visitors coming in, knocking off the home teams, and then we have 2 home teams cruising on to victories. Okay, so now let's go to December 31st to January 1st. These are the games, okay, quarterfinal games of the Big 12, not the Big 12, but the College Football Championship, College Football Playoffs. All right, so we're going to start with the Cotton Bowl. Number 10, Miami takes on number 2, Ohio State. Okay, this was played on December the 31st there in Dallas at the Cotton Bowl. Okay, so Miami pulled off the first major upset. I mean, they beat up on the number 2 seed, the Buckeyes, there in Arlington, Cowboy Stadium. It was a defensive struggle. I mean, a very physical defensive struggle. Okay? The Hurricanes stunned Ohio State to advance to the semifinals. Now, this game was really super good. I like Ohio State. I was rooting for, I like to root for Ohio State and everything like that. But I was unfortunately rooting for Miami because Ohio State won it last year. They're always a good football team, but they needed to be humbled and to be eliminated at the expense of Miami. So, yes, Miami came in, beat Ohio State 24-14. So a number 10 team beat a number 2 team, 24-14. Oof. That was a good game. All right, so now we move on to the January 1st games. Okay? Now, this is interesting. It wasn't a very fun game to watch. Okay? So, the Orange Bowl played down there in the good old city of Miami, there in Hard Rock Stadium. Okay? It featured number 5 Oregon against number 4 Texas Tech. Now, let me step back a second here. So, all the number 1 seed teams since last year all lost in the quarterfinals. They all lost. All right. And so far, we have had Ohio State lost. They were a bye team. They were number 2. So the first 4 seeds all lost last year, and so Ohio State was the first of the bye teams that lost. Okay. And now Oregon comes in at number 5 playing number 4 Texas Tech. Now, which one will fall? Oregon or Texas Tech? Well, they did have a bye week, so Oregon dominated Texas Tech from the beginning with a shutout victory there in Miami. Okay? It was the first college football playoff shutout since 2016. The Ducks defense completely stifled the Red Riders offense. I mean, seeing what Texas Tech did to BYU, they couldn't do anything against Oregon. Oregon just beat the crap out of them. And last week I talked about my Big 12 bowl games, and that you can find that up there. Okay? But Texas Tech, yeah, they lost to a Big 10 school. I mean, yeah, if you're looking at that game, you're like, oh, yeah, obviously the Big 10 is a lot better than the Big 12 because Oregon beat the crap out of them. 23-0. Well, I guess that really wasn't crap, but they beat them shut them out in a college football playoff game. I mean, come on, Texas Tech. You're the Big 12 champions. Shouldn't you be better than that? But Texas Tech, they played good. And they ended up being 12-2 on the season. Texas Tech is the second team in 2025 that had a bye week to fall. There's one thing that I don't like about Oregon. Okay, they were already up. They were already beating Texas Tech with 18 seconds, 8 seconds, I don't know, in the fourth quarter down on the 2-yard line. You know what I would have done? I would have nailed it. Ended it right there. But you know what they did? They punched it in. They punched it in for some more points. Is that classy? No, that's not classy at all. So now we're going to go on to the next one. The Rose Bowl out there in California, Pasadena. So the Rose Bowl played in Pasadena, California on January 1st of 2026. Okay, this was featuring Indiana and Alabama, the number 1 seed and the number 9 seed playing each other. Okay, so far we've had 2 of the top 4 teams fall this year, and all of them last year. So it was a very rainy day there in California. I mean, it was coming down. And it was a very good game. I mean, I've watched most of this game here, and Indiana just demolished Alabama in Pasadena with the Heisman Trophy winner, okay? Fernando Mendoza, okay? Leading the Hoosiers. Yeah, Indiana Hoosiers. I've been thinking like basketball. You know, they are known for basketball. But football, they are showing what Indiana's all about. I mean, yeah, Indiana's a Big Ten school. Okay, and they beat up on Alabama, who was an SEC school who shouldn't even been in the playoffs. But they're Alabama, and they are. So, yeah, Indiana 38, Alabama 3. I was very happy about that score. All right, so we're now going to move on to the Sugar Bowl, also played on January 1st, featuring number 6, Ole Miss, and number 3, Georgia. All right? So, yeah. So, right now we only have 1 team of the 4 first seeds. You know, Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, and Texas Tech. Indiana is the only one who's won a game. Well, can Georgia do the same? Well, I'm not sure. Ole Miss upset Georgia in a high-scoring affair, with the Rebels outlasting the Bulldogs to punch their ticket to the semifinals. Oh, yeah. This was a very good game. I mean, I was kind of rooting for Ole Miss because of Ole Miss's coach. Leaving Ole Miss to go to LSU, I was thinking, oh, Ole Miss would be awesome to win the national championship without that selfish coach. But Ole Miss was proving me, man. He was like, oh, yeah, we're going to do this. And they beat Georgia 39-34. So another number 3, another bye week team fell. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, what the heck? I don't want to be a bye week. I don't want to be in top 14. I'd rather be 5-12. Yeah, I'd rather be a 5-12 instead of a 1-4. Okay? So now we move on to the semifinals, which took place January the 8th to the 9th. Okay? And this first game we're going to talk about is the Fiesta Bowl. Okay? They're in Glendale. Is it Glendale, Arizona? Yeah, you know, State Farm Stadium. It features number 10 Miami and number 6 Ole Miss. Now, I was rooting for Ole Miss because, you know, I wanted them to step up and to win a national championship just to show that coach that they didn't need him. Okay? And Miami pulled off another great comeback, scoring with 18 seconds left on a 3-yard touchdown run to beat Ole Miss. After Ole Miss took a 27-23 lead with 3 minutes remaining and converted a 2-point conversion, Miami drove 15 plays for the game-winning score. So Miami, number 10 Miami beats number 6 Ole Miss 31-27, and they advanced to the college championship game. So Ole Miss's championship dreams ended there, and Miami's continued to move on until the championship game. Now we're going to be talking about the Peach Bowl, okay? Played there in Georgia, and the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, home of the Atlanta Falcons. Okay, so the Peach Bowl featured Indiana and Oregon. Now, I was rooting for Indiana all the way in this game. I do not like Oregon. I think Oregon is an overrated team. That's just my opinion. Okay, so, and they have no class. But Indiana dominated Oregon in the first all Big Ten college football playoff. Yeah, both teams were Big Ten. And they won by 34 points. Okay, tied for the fourth largest margin in college football history, college football playoff history. The undefeated Hoosiers cruised, whatever you want to say, into the championship game. Okay, the first play of that game, Oregon threw a pick six, and I was happy. And I knew Indiana was going to win that game. So far, that is up until the championship. So the championship takes place on January 19th. Again, number 1 against number 10, Miami. Okay, they're in Hard Rock Stadium there in Miami, Florida. And that starts at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and that can be featured on ESPN. So, will Indiana have a perfect season this year? And the program's first national championship? But it's also facing a number 10 Miami, playing in their home stadium. Miami has been the Cardiac Kings all throughout the season. I don't know why they're named that. Winning 3 playoff games in different ways, while Indiana has dominated with the Heisman winner. Okay? So it'll be an interesting time in the college football playoff championships on Monday night, January the 19th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And so, yeah, I hope you guys liked this video of my breakdown of the college football playoffs. And so give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell notifications so you can get notified anytime I post anything up here on this No Niche channel. So my next video will be about the college football champions. Who will win the national champion? Will it be Miami or Indiana? That will become my next video. Okay, guys? Until then, I will see you later. Bye. Let's go, Indiana.